I think at the core, what we're talking about and what they're reacting to is the sense of who's allowed to call themselves American, right? And do you get to say you're American if this is your family's food, or do you have to, think of something else as American and you are tangential to what American society is? And so when we say like, no, what is typical school food is American, and this school food is also American. These are American children in an American school, and their heritage has been here for a long time. We've just never considered them to be American, but we're going to consider it that way. Let's everybody enjoy this and kind of, center that experience.
Yeah, and we talked about this a bit earlier. I just want to go one more step into this conversation, because you talked about the difference in how it feels to have what you're calling what is typical school food versus culturally relevant food. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, if you live in the space of the product itself, and we talked about this earlier when we were talking about sneakers, right? If I'm not creating a spreadsheet between Nike sneakers and some other brand sneakers and saying like this one has 0.3% more cushion in it. That's not how we move through the world. We really have this kind of visceral connection to things. And so when I think about, let's call it typical school food, and then this kind of culturally relevant school food, you could live in the sense of what the actual menu items are. But I don't want the conversation to go there, because that again is not how we really move through the world. We move through the world kind of as emotional beings, thinking we want to go to places that reaffirm us and energize us, and we kind of want to stay away from places that don't reaffirm us. And so, when we talk about culturally relevant food, what we're saying is that beyond just the menu items, we want to create an environment that centers the experience of kids of all different cultures. So there will be no othering in a Red Rabbit cafeteria. There will be no sense of that food is different, and therefore we have to treat it differently. It's exotic, and therefore we have to treat it in a way that it's, unique. We're going to bring that into the center, and we're going to make room for this West African and Caribbean dish. We're going to make room for this East Asian dish. We're going to make room for this Southeast Asian dish. And we're going to do it in a way that is centering all of them, right? And the reason for that is that we want kids of all of those backgrounds to walk into that space and feel as though that space is their space and it's there for them. And they don't have to change who they are in order to be accepted into that space.
For more, go to limbicsparks.com.